Welcome to Redvee TV, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2021 Championship winning season. Doesn't lose its touch, Kev.
No, still sounds brilliant.
We've had a couple of weeks off, but time to get back to the grind. The players are going into pre-season this week, so are we. Just decided to start off by having a little bit of a Q&A session from some of the tweets and Facebook posts that have come in. Kev, are you suitably prepared? Is this like the grind going up the hills or the sand dunes on Southport Beach?
Getting through the hard work early doors before we just start talking rubbish about rugby. Yeah, probably sounds about right.
Which will be in about 10 minutes' time.
Yeah.
Right, I'll bring the questions up, Kev. So Phil Gilbert starting us off, asking where we are on a nines competition. For Phil, it should replace Magic Weekend and have qualifiers the first morning for amateur teams, and maybe, heaven forbid, the odd union team. Kev, nines competition?
Not interested. Carry on. No, seriously, seriously. The replacing Magic Weekend, I kind of get, but that only works if you can't do it mid-season unless you've got a massive prize for winning it, a massive incentive. So like your salary cap's free for a year, or you're going to get the prize money that pays your salary cap for a year, or something similar to that. I don't see why teams would throw some of the better players, like you like to see Tommy Makinson, Regan Grace, Alex Walmsley's, Johnny Lomax, into a nines competition in the middle of the season when really it doesn't mean anything. I'm okay with one happening as such, but it needs to be worth something before I think teams would take it seriously, because otherwise it's just I don't know. I don't get it. If you're having it replacing Magic Weekend, then it's got to open the season, I think, and teams can use it as a bit of a pre-season blowout there to get a bit of match sharpness and match fitness. It's admirable having like qualifiers on the first morning for amateur teams, and even the odd rugby union team, and showing that we're not bitter and twisted, even though I think sometimes some of our rugby league fans are, with good reason. But yeah, I don't think, not as a replacement for Magic Weekend mid-season, I don't see that at all personally.
I think you're right, and I think it probably comes down to money. The only way the competition would work is if there was a massive cash prize. That's the only way you're going to get any union team to even come over and consider it. And at the moment, we can't even get teams to go full pelt in the Challenge Cup, which is one of the two main comps. If it did take place, I get the feeling the attendance would be absolutely woeful.
I think, I don't know. It depends on what concept and where. But that's it. At the minute, I'm not interested in it. I'd need to see a bit more than, this is nothing against Phil's question, but just were you on a nines competition? Tell me a bit more about it. Tell me where it is. Tell me, does it go over a week or two? Are people still going to be interested on the last day or the penultimate day of it? Because there's no information really on what a proper nines competition would be like, I'm a little bit.
Kev, I don't know. If it goes as, say, it was a weekend competition and it's got to be finished in that one weekend, if you're one of the poorer sides, how many minutes of rugby do you actually play that weekend and expect your fans to watch?
Well, I suppose that's the issue. Not only that, are we looking at it almost too club-centrically as well? That you look at cricket have brought in the innovation of having the 100, and instead of it being Lancashire and Yorkshire and what have you, it's been the Manchester Originals, or there's no like real county team that they've amalgamated them. Is that more of a think outside the box? Would that get fans in? I'm not entirely sure, because I think we are quite ingrained in club rugby coming before anything else.
So what you're saying, Kev, is you'd quite like to see the Billings Blockbusters. It'd be a combined Saints and Wigan team wearing a cherry and white V.
No,
let's move on.
No, I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying that. Listen,
that sounds like that sounds like one of those ideas that Martin Sadler had come up with.
I'm gonna have to shave this beard off now. But it's an idea that's currently working in cricket. Would it work in rugby league? I'm not entirely sure. Rugby cricket fans support a region. We support a very town-centric club, don't we? So I'm not sure that it would work, but maybe there is a little bit more thinking outside the box, a little bit more detail, and then I might be a little bit more open to it.
Okay, starting 13 asks, which new signing will make the most impact for Saints this season and who will make the top 4? I'll start off with the top 4. I think it's going to be Saints, obviously. Top spot. Closely followed by Catalan, who I think have strengthened again in the close season. I think Warrington will make the 4. And I think Leeds will get in there as well this year.
I can't disagree with them 4. They're the 4 that I would go for. I think Leeds will be top 4 this year. I think Catalan are looking good, and it'll be a good battle between us and Catalan. I think Darryl Powell will bring a little bit more flair to Warrington. I think they've been almost playing within themselves. There may well be a culture at the club that isn't quite, that isn't quite right there. And if he can get that right and get them all playing to their full potential, I'm not going to say it could be their year, but they could have a better throw at it than they keep doing.
Okay, which new signing, Kev?
Ooh. Is it a bit obvious saying Joey Lussick?
No.
Is it a bit obvious? I just think that...
Reasons why?
Well, the reason why is I think that he'll keep Roby fresher. I don't think it's necessarily like... We might see someone like Curtis Sirinen who comes in and he's a blockbuster going forward and dragging men with him as he's making them breaks. But I think because...
you're saying Lussick for the impact he has on the team dynamic as a whole rather than his individual role?
Yeah, potentially, yeah. And I'm not trying to downplay his individual role, but I think that being able to rest James Roby and not have him play 73 minutes in a game where you've got a Super League, proper Super League standard, been there, done it hooker, it's going to be massive for us.
Yeah. Probably hard to disagree. We've made a good batch of signings this year. You get the feeling the squad is actually stronger this year.
Yeah,
right.
Agreed.
He's here, he's there, he's every single way.
That doesn't make sense, but yeah.
Yeah. We miss Frank Leboeuf, but he's here. There's going to be kids having to Google who he is.
Yeah, exactly. But
so for kids, if you're watching, Frank Leboeuf, Chelsea defender, mid-90s, came over from France to play for Chelsea down in London, attended a Saints London Broncos game and has stuck by the club ever since, but uses the pseudonym Mark Lennon occasionally on Twitter, just so he's not got the French football fans chasing him every 2 minutes for an autographed World Cup winning shirt. There we go. Right. Are we happy about Toulouse? See, back straight into the French questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I've no problem with Toulouse coming up, but I wouldn't have had a problem with Feth coming up either. I think the thing with Feth, and I get the argument that are they going to grow the game and all that, but you've got to still have promotion based on some merit as well, on-field merit. And they've been up and thereabouts. And if they'd have beat Toulouse, would have been happy with Feth coming up? Yeah. I wouldn't have had a problem with it, definitely. But yeah, happy with Toulouse coming up, no problems at all.
I think you're right. How can you complain about the promotion of Toulouse when they've earned it? They've earned it on the field. They're not a team who's been parachuted into the top flight. And they've got a team that's been built there not to go straight back down as well. I think they'll be
We'll see about
competitive.
that.
No, I don't think they finish bottom. I think they'll be looking for 8th or 9th, roundabout there. They'll be in that.
I think that's a perfectly respectable aim as well, but it's a completely different competition, so they may find it a little bit tougher than expected.
They will, but on paper, you have to say they're stronger than Wigan.
Okay.
Okay, Kev. What two things would you improve the game with?
Oh, don't know. What about you?
Get rid of 6 again.
Yeah, good, great shout. Absolutely great shout.
Because as we've talked about quite frequently, it's been used and abused by teams this season. It's not led to speeding the game up. So yeah, that'd go for me. And I think it has gone this year. But it was allowing the player to peel off before somebody could rip the ball out.
Yeah, I think that has gone.
What else would it go?
Well, I would. The 2 things to improve the game for me would be simplify all the rules, stop chopping and changing them every single season, and making people who've been watching the game for God knows how many years have to kind of get on board with the new set of rules. Simplify them, make them easier for your entry-level fan to know what's going on and why it's going on. The other one, to improve the game as a whole, I think we need more joined up thinking between the northern and southern hemispheres and the international game, just to start getting. I was chatting to one of my mates this morning and was on about household name players. How many have we got in Super League? And this isn't you walk into a household in St Helens, Wigan, Leeds, somewhere like that, but you walk into a household in Nottingham or Portsmouth or Plymouth or somewhere like that. How many? And you walk around the town centre and said, "Name me a current rugby league player." I'm not entirely sure there would be many that could get named, especially no British ones. So it'd be some joined up thinking to market the game and improve it and make sure we are a little bit more joined up in our thinking.
Okay, Kev, what winds you up every game?
You banging on the back wall at Saints.
Sorry, is your name Ryan?
What winds me up every game? Not knowing, kind of, when there's a decision made by a referee and you don't quite see the hand signal, or you don't know why something's been chalked off. Just when you're at the game, it's almost like the television fan comes first. I don't want to see on the big screen all types of incidents where they replay it and get a crowd kind of riled up because something's gone against you, but just more explanation of why a decision has been given.
Yeah, so try disallowed crossing or try disallowed, player never grounded the ball.
Yeah, make it simple.
Yeah, let people know why it's been disallowed. I think you're quite right. I think when you're watching replays on the screen in a game, you're often groups of fans trying to interpret what they're actually looking for.
Yeah, and just make it. I think again, I'll go to rugby union here. They and we used to do it. Used to have the refs mic'd up so you could almost hear what they're saying, and it makes it a lot more joined up. That another thing, I suppose, another thing that winds you up is the on-field call, where you turn around and sometimes they're guessing if it's a try or not. Why are you guessing? Why are they being forced into that position? There's a video ref there. Don't make the referee guess. He can turn around and say, "I've not seen that ball grounded. Is it a try? Yes or no?" I'll go back to that. The call of the on-field official. I'm not entirely sure it puts them in a great place. I think that could be looked at.
I've got no issue with the referee sending a decision up.
Yep, that's it.
And if the video ref can't prove it one way or the other, going back to the referee's decision. But equally, I don't think the referees should be forced to make a decision. So often on the field, there will be times where they don't know, and which is the whole reason they're sending up to video. So why put them in a position where they've got to say try or no try? Allow them to have I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. Can you let me know what the decision is? Do we need to freshen up our presenters on Sky, and who should it be?
Yes, definitely. Who should it be? It's easy to say yes, definitely, and then not have someone in mind. All I want is a presenter with a guest in the studio. I want a commentator who tells me what's going on. So if I've nipped into the kitchen for a brew while, I don't know, Leeds against Hull's on, I can still hear the actual action. Asks leading questions to a summariser, but these summarisers be people now who are relevant, a little bit closer out of the game. So you look at Monday Night Football with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher, who are newer out of the game than Andy Gray was. And you've just got to keep refreshing all the time. I'm not saying there's no place for some of the other presenters, but we've got to get it on more of a rolling thing where there's more variation. I want to hear off a halfback. I don't want to hear off forwards just talking about the biff and the grind and stuff like that. I want the likes of Leon Price, or if Sean Long's about, or people like that, turning around and going, this is what he's thinking here. This is what he's looking for. And being able to nail that down. Because people would want to listen to that rather than at half time turning around going, not interested.
I think my issue with it is with the presentation of it is people seem to fall into a role like a play a character.
Yeah.
So you've got Phil playing I'm going to give the most controversial out there wacky opinion ever to try and be faux controversy. You've got John Wells trying to play the intellect. You get Terry O'Connor and Barry McDermott being painted into some sort of comedy double act position when that's not what they are. Brian Carney trying to play the Jerry Springer final thought every now and again when he goes off on one of his rants about where the game stands. And you've got all these individual positions.
Yep.
And it's wrong, really. But yes, that's how I'd freshen it up. Just by allowing people to actually be themselves and not feel like they've got to come up with something controversial. If Saints are playing Salford or Lee and Saints are going to win by 30, just say it. They're going to win by 30. Don't come up with it. Well, I think Salford are going to come away with the victory tonight. When you don't honestly believe that, there's no way they're going to put in their wages on that opinion.
Yeah.
But there we go. Okay.
Fair enough.
What's our thoughts on Super League being licensed? Obviously, no promotion relegation and a part-time professional championship playing a traditional winter season. It's a tough one. I can see why licensing may work in a sport like rugby league with the finance aspects and teams not being able to plan. And I think that's probably been shown by Hull KR having the chance to grow, and I would help them. But equally, I think sport in this country is built on a promotion and relegation model. And who are we to say that, Kev, you're not going to win 150 million on the Euro Millions tomorrow? Invest in your hometown team, Widnes, and bring them back to Super League glory.
I might live in Widnes. I never ever claimed them as my hometown.
Oh, right. We forgot you from Burnley.
Yeah, oh yeah. I thought it was Scouts, one of them. Anyway, license. I think we'll go to the second part of that one first. If you go part-time professional championship and play a winter season, giving rugby league 12 months round, if someone then gets promoted from the championship because somebody loses a license, does that then put them at a disadvantage? I don't know if that would work. On it being licensed, listen, there's talk of going 10 and 10 with the top flight and the bottom flight. That's a question probably for another day, unless it's in this lot. I don't think it is. Licensing is a great idea. It really is. It is. But as you say, are you then turning around and saying, well, there's a team who are currently smashing it on the field. They're doing okay money-wise. And I'll go back to Fed. They're doing all right. They seem to be going okay off the field. A couple of indiscretions from directors and that you read about on Twitter, and that's not anything that'll get us into trouble either, Dave. That is actual fact. But I don't think you can draw it up. And even this 10, I don't like it because it's almost like saying close shop now. These are the only 20 when you need that scope for growth. We've been having chats on Twitter about people about growing the game. You can't turn around and say that you're not coming into Super League. Like you say, somebody wants to pump 100 million quid into Widnes, they can do. They're allowed to. And bring them up. If you've got licensing, what have they got to do? Wait 3, 5, 10 years before they get another chance? Even though they are the strongest.
You've got to allow fans to dream. I think if you went to that model of no promotion and relegation, and everybody below Super League is an amateur club, essentially part time, you'll find fans who will just drift away from the game.
Yeah, you will, and that's when we're talking about growing the game. To grow the game, you've got to keep hold of your core first before you start growing. And if you're not keeping hold of your core and you're hemorrhaging a couple of thousand fans per club when you come to buying season tickets and memberships, it's all very well then turning around and saying, and you see people all the time saying, get Toronto back in. Why? It didn't work first time. It's not that they shouldn't have a second goal, but you can't just parachute a team in, or you can't just get a team in who then don't pay the bills and then don't complete the season. I know COVID had a lot to do with that, but they had unpaid bills before COVID even hit. You've got to have the scope to growth, and you've got to have the scope to dream. Go back to Burnley. I'm a Burnley fan. People know that. We had a thing called Dare to Dream, a season ticket thing where you bought your season ticket, and the promise was if we went to the Premier League, this was 2009-ish, 2008, if we got to the Premier League, if we got promoted, you get your season ticket free next year. We got into the playoffs and got promoted to the Premier League. Cost the club 2 million quid, but you know what? We got into the Premier League and we've been up and down and currently sitting in the bottom 3. But how can you turn around and say, well, no, you're not allowed in Burnley? Well, you're not allowed to get up there and do it.
When you bring in the football model, or when you bring this sort of model into football, it's maybe what they were looking at with the European Super League.
Yeah.
Making that a closed shop. So that means Everton aren't allowed to go and spend 500 million and not get any better. Or Newcastle aren't allowed to get bought and transform themselves. Or if this had been done 15, 20 years ago, Man City would still be languishing in the 3rd division.
Yeah.
So yes, not for me. I think we've got to work it out better in terms of finance, but I think there should always be a route up and down.
Yeah, I think you've got to have that chance of coming up and going down.
Okay, Kev, what about replacing loop fixtures with an extended Challenge Cup with group semis and a final?
I've seen this.
Group games counting on season tickets.
Yeah, I've seen this put out somewhere before. It might be a Sadler one.
It's a bit more sensible.
Yeah, it's but
see, I think that's with the Challenge Cup. The thing that reinvigorate or would sort the Challenge Cup out would be including it in the season tickets.
Yeah,
and I think and including that as well, I think every Super League club should have a £10 premium put onto their season ticket. That would, if your team gets into the playoff semi-final in Super League playoff semi-final, it's included in the season ticket, and because that money comes from a central pot that every club's contributes into, and no club could be moaning about having to pay into that or put their season ticket prices up by £10 to contribute to that pot, because it's everybody's ambition to actually reach that point.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I want rid of the loop fixtures. I think I spoke to Aaron Bauer and Matt Shaw on the Facebook Live that they did, put a question to him about would they go to 10, because I think fans are getting bored of playing each other time and time again. And I don't. I think Aaron's in favour of it. But then he came up with a point. He went, yeah, look at the whole derby. We've not played one of them for weeks. And I was thinking, no, that's my point. My point entirely is it's an event. It makes you want to go. You're not turning around, as we've said in the past, and saying, I can't be bothered with this 6-Wigan one because we're going to play them again in another 6 weeks. And I'll go to that one
instead. I think it's an event. As an Everton fan, I'm really looking forward to Liverpool putting 6 past us in a couple of weeks' time. I can't wait. I only get to see it once a year. Yeah, but yeah, it's boring playing the same teams again and again. It's boring. Then when you play them in a playoff and a final, it's like game 5 against them that year. Boring.
Yeah,
it's like we're already, at least this season, Wigan being so poor, we're only going to play them 3 times, or 4 with Magic. Because it gets boring beating them all the time.
It does. It certainly does. Does it? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. A last one for this stint, Kev. Where do we think Leeds will finish this season? I think we've covered this maybe a little bit at the start. Top 4, potentially
Top 4.
3rd. It's between them and Warrington for 3rd and 4th, isn't it?
Yeah, I've no problem with agreeing with that. I think that I think top 4 is definitely attainable for Leeds. I think they've recruited well, taking the likes of Aidan Caesar on, really clever player, clever signing. James Bentley will be a thorn in everybody's side, including ours, when he starts picking on people. I could see him and Louis having a little spat. Both like a chat, don't they? Both like getting involved in all that. Hopefully, we're clever enough to kind of just play him at rugby rather than do that, and let him wind himself up. I think we can finish top 4.
I think Super League needs a strong Leeds as well.
I think it does. I say this all the time. They need a strong Leeds. They need a strong home.
Needs a strong Bradford.
Possibly so. Yeah.
Teams that will bring a decent sized crowd. In the early 2000s, when you had Leeds, Wigan, Bradford, us, the game seemed more of an event. That game before, at the end of the season, where we put, 50 past Leeds or something a few weeks ago, I think I turned to you during that game and went, this doesn't feel like a big game anymore.
Yeah.
Because Leeds were so poor. Obviously, I know they had a lot of players missing that night, but...
Yeah. When you say they bring a lot of fans, what do you mean by that?
To the league, maybe not as an away following, but when Bradford were in the league, they were having 12, 13,000 crowds.
No, that's fine. No, I agree with that, because I don't think any club should be relying on getting an away following from anyone. I think you should fill your home ground first, and if there's any tickets free, then you get away ones sent to you. But yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted to clarify that.
Is that all right, Kev? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Right. That's part 1 done. We'll get another Q&A done in the next few days and get that out on our social media, on YouTube, on Redvee TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section about any of the answers we've given. If you agree, you disagree, or just have a completely different opinion, let us know. And we do read everything, and we'll probably have a chinwag in the comments. Catch you soon.